Al Capone, also known as Scarface, was one of the most famous gangsters in American history, a symbol of the Prohibition era and organized crime in the United States. His rise to power, his life as an outlaw, and his fall have become legend, helping to build the myth of the Italian-American Mafia. Alphonse Gabriel Capone was born on January 17, 1899, in Brooklyn, to a family of Italian immigrants from Naples. He grew up in a difficult environment where street gangs had a strong influence on young people. As a teenager, he became involved in crime, dropping out of school at 14 after attacking a teacher. During those years, Capone joined local gangs, including the 5 Points Gang, one of the most powerful criminal organizations in New York. It was during this period that he began working for gangster Frankie Yale, who introduced him to the underworld. The nickname Scarface comes from an incident that occurred when he was still young. During a nightclub brawl, Capone made an inappropriate comment to the sister of Frank Galluccio, a local small-time boss. Galluccio responded by slashing his face with a knife, leaving 3 scars on his left cheek. From that moment on, the nickname Scarface followed him throughout his life, even though Capone detested the term and preferred to be called Big Al or Mr. Capone. In the early 1920s, Capone moved to Chicago at the invitation of Johnny Torrio, a powerful mobster who controlled the alcohol trade and other illegal activities. The period coincided with Prohibition, during which the production and sale of alcohol were prohibited in the United States. This prohibition gave a great boost to organized crime, which began to make huge fortunes from bootlegging alcohol. In 1925, after an assassination attempt in which Torrio was seriously injured, Capone took control of Chicago's criminal operations. Under his leadership, the organization became one of the most powerful in America, controlling alcohol trafficking, gambling, prostitution, and the corruption of local law enforcement and politicians. One of the most famous events associated with Al Capone is the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, which took place on February 14, 1929. On that day, men disguised as police officers, supposedly sent by Capone, brutally murdered 7 members of Bugs Moran's rival gang in a Chicago garage. Although there was no direct evidence of Capone's involvement, the incident solidified his reputation as a ruthless crime boss and increased the attention of the authorities towards him. Despite his power, Capone could not avoid the growing interest of the federal government in his affairs. Attorney Elliot Ness and his team, known as the Untouchables, tried unsuccessfully to frame him for his most serious crimes. However, he was eventually arrested and tried not for murder or alcohol trafficking, but for tax evasion. In 1931, Capone was sentenced to 11 years in prison and fined $50,000. He was initially held in Atlanta, but was later transferred to Alcatraz, a maximum security prison located on an island in San Francisco Bay. While in prison, Capone's health deteriorated dramatically due to syphilis, a disease he had contracted years earlier and had never been treated properly. In 1939, due to his deteriorating physical and mental condition, he was released on parole. He retired to Florida, to his villa on Palm Island, where he spent the last years of his life away from the world of crime. By now debilitated and suffering from dementia due to syphilis, he died on January 25, 1947 of cardiac arrest. Despite his death, Al Capone's name remains one of the most iconic in the history of organized crime. His life has inspired films, books, and television series, making him a symbol of the Italian-American Mafia and the Prohibition era. His figure represents the dark side of the American dream, a man who started from nothing and became the most powerful gangster in America, but who was ultimately defeated not by justice for his violent crimes, but for not paying taxes.